could be for money, could be for your looks or your intelligence. किसी के वजह से भी ego आ ही जाता है. And then there's another kind of ego, which is in those people who actually have nothing to be proud about. बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. And their ego is born out of their insecurities, their complexes. So उसकी वजह से आ जाता है. To conceal those, they become egoistic, they become proud. So they use ego as a defense mechanism to protect that false image that they have created. They have to do that. And kind of pride, सबसे ज़्यादा. It brings the greatest downfall. Because this sense of pride or ego जो है ना, it does not allow them to utilize their judgment in the best possible way. They cannot get true understanding about life कि क्या है life, because blocked होते हैं बिल्कुल. And the ego pride is humility, and कोई spiritual journey possible नहीं है. Only if you come into that space of humbleness that you're able to make your journey easier for the next world. And humbleness is valued not only here but in the next world also. उसकी सबसे ज़्यादा value होती है. And the way is the state of your ego. That is one of your tests on earth, because both एक तरह के test होते हैं. How we handle them, that matters the most. If success or failure आने से a person does not become superior or inferior. It is not that. It is how you deal with them, how you behave when you're being handed a very high position, success on a platter, literally. That you become proud, egoistic. That is your test. And failure होती है because it teaches you how to become humble. It crushes your ego. And that is what helps you grow on the spiritual path. And true success जो है ना, वो spiritual success है, earthly success नहीं है. वो तो हमारा जो बना हुआ है कायदा दुनिया में रहने का, तो we regard earthly success as everything, but most important thing. But we have to learn how to use that earthly success like humanity. How can we serve humanity? उनके लिए क्या benefit कर ला सकते हैं through our success. So now let's try to understand what is our ego quotient first. So I'll just share the screen. What I'm sharing are actually the signs of pride in a person. And I would like you to interact with the interactiveness. If कोई अगर pen pencil है तो just jot down how many of those apply to you. And you honestly, you don't have to share with anybody. It is for your own well-being. On say, so just write yes or no in front of the sentences that I'm sharing now. So honestly see how it all applies to you. Because only when we become aware of what are our shortcomings that we can heal them, you could say, or release them. So to understand your ego quotient, you just get these.
Meenu, can you
first is don't believe in the existence of God. I'm sure you do that over here. Then so you just write yes or no if you are able to do that. Then it is very hard for you to accept your flaws. The person who is in an egoistic state, he's not ready to even see that he has flaws. Then when you don't accept that you were, अगर आपको समझ भी आ जाती है ना, you're wrong, आप उसको you just refuse to accept it. No, I was not wrong. You don't believe it. So then you are running away from the truth. You don't accept the truth at all. And then you think you're better than others, you're superior to others around you. सब तो मेरे से नीचे ही है, मैं ही सबसे topper हूँ. You think one who is gifted, most gifted personality around, and then you believe that everyone else is better than you. And then you start to think that you are better than others. You are superior to others around you. So you think one who is gifted, most personality gifted personality around, and then you believe that everyone else is better than you. And then you start to think that you are better than others. You are superior to others around you. And then you believe that मेरे बिना तो काम हो ही नहीं सकता. We all have that idea in our mind कि नहीं घर तो चल ही नहीं सकता मेरे बिना. But if you have to go away for a few days, you suddenly realize that yes, the house is running well on its own also. And the same applies in other fields also. But we feel that we are indispensable, but it is not so. Then you believe egoistic person is of that opinion. सब कुछ आता है और I don't need to acquire any spiritual knowledge as such. मेरे से आप ले लो जितना मर्जी knowledge लेनी है ले लो. Then you feel your point of view is the only point of view. और तो कोई कुछ right बोल ही नहीं सकता. And then you don't try to feel आपको किसी और को कुछ और uplift करूं या उनको better feel करने की कोशिश करूं. And then you don't care if you hurt anyone's feelings. Was for you, you are the most important person. और तो कोई matter ही नहीं करता. So then you don't feel, such people, they don't feel responsible for their lives also. They blame others. Life में ये problem हो रही है. I am not the one responsible. Problem हो रही, how can I be the creator? We don't accept responsibility at all. Then you cannot accept the fact that और लोग भी आपसे better हो सकते हैं. I am the best. वही thought रहता है आप में. And you're not considerate about others. You don't accept that they also can have. You all want perfection from the others. You don't give them any consideration. Then you don't feel prayer is important. नहीं, prayer की क्या जरूरत है? I know everything. So prayer क्या चीज होती है? Then you're always impatient, irritable, stubborn क्योंकि your thoughts matter, you matter. तो अगर आपको importance नहीं मिल रही, तो you come into illness. So you're thinking only about yourself. Nobody else matters. And you can't handle it if someone doesn't agree with you. How dare he go against me? वो thought आ जाता है. Then you're not able to accept failures at all. Okay, how was I not able to succeed? मेरे से पूरा नहीं हुआ काम, वो नहीं acceptance आती. Then you don't regard that आप बराबर कोई और है. I am the best. So I am superior to everyone. बाकी तो कोई मेरे जितना हो ही नहीं सकता. Then you make comparisons. Those who actually don't have anything to be proud of, they make comparisons and they pick up, उसके पास better क्यों है, मेरे पास क्यों नहीं है. Those are thoughts into your mind. Then of course gratitude तो आसपास से भी बहुत दूर होता है. You don't have that attitude of gratitude at all. And you feel slighted easily. किसी ने भी कुछ भी कह दिया तो बस आपको गुस्सा आ गया. And you resist change. कुछ change आपके environment में कोई changes नहीं होनी चाहिए. Everything you like in that zone only. इससे बाहर कुछ नहीं होता. So all these are pointers what an egoistic person is like. What you need to avoid so that you don't get labeled as an egoistic person. Honestly, you can understand how many of it apply to you. It is not at all will apply. कोई एक आध point भी apply करता है, तो you still are in that zone of being an egoistic person. I'll just stop share for a minute. Anyone would like to share anything about this? Do you feel you have any of those traits? If you feel like sharing. Or any other?
Yeah, Meenu ji, very humbling because I realized that yes, about 50% of them I do have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's being
very honestly. Yeah. So it was like a grounding factor and coming to reality. And I was also aware of some and sort of not able to do much about them. Means bit of lachari or helplessness. I don't know that. Yes, actually, I'm aware of this. It's been there as
they become an integral part of our lives, and we are not even aware that we are in that zone. So that's
बिल्कुल
able to let go of it all.
or it's like मैं ऐसा हूँ अभी मैं क्या करूँ, you know, that not out of arrogance but
My
almost
nature
out
is
of
such. Change
helplessness,
नहीं कर
almost
सकता.
out of yeah.
So, and you know, the most ego clashes कहाँ पर होते हैं? घर में तो होते ही होते हैं, पर ऑफिस में भी बहुत ज्यादा होता है ईगो क्लैश. दैट वहां पे तो घर में तो थोड़ा सा बॉम्बास्टिक हो जाते हैं, बट ऑफिस they are very subtle, at a very subtle level. Like everyone is expected to stand up when the boss walks into the office. Boss का वो होता है attitude कि yes, everyone should be standing up. And then if boss is coming back from somewhere, so he expects to be greeted with flowers at the airport that my office people should come and back. And अगर वहाँ पे ऑफिस में कोई किसी ने डिसीजन, though they don't like to be questioned, why have you taken that decision? So और कोई तो बिल्कुल सजेशन फीडबैक तो कुछ एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर पाते हैं. And all are ready to flare up the moment anything is said against them, and they act in a very high-handed manner. And वहाँ पे ना जैसे they all sitting on a keg of वो क्या कहते हैं bomb किसी की टाइम भी. So everyone has heard about Narayan Murthy, and he is the first one who talked about ego quotient that Indians have. तो उसको हम ये सारी चीजें नॉर्मली ले लेते हैं. It is part of the scenario, ये तो होता ही है. But Narayan Murthy, he actually quantified it that everyone has this ego quotient. So he's the first one to give consideration to this factor, giving it a measurement. He's actually put it as highest ego per unit of achievement. जितनी आपकी achievement होगी आपका ego भी उसके साथ rise करता जाएगा. And in fact he said that the know-it-all attitude जो bureaucrats का होता है, that was one of the reasons why not able to achieve what we set out to achieve in India. He shared in Narayan Murthy shared in his colleague had shared while working to implement Aadhaar in Delhi. And somebody asked him, how difficult is it to work here and in Delhi? And he said that the first hurdle that you come across is that the bureaucrats, they say, we know this, we have already done this. So then there's nothing left to do because you're not open to any suggestions, you're not open to changing anything. You're resisting that change. So that is another of the signs of ego, of pride. So जैसे यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं हो पाता. दिल्ली में तो बिल्कुल बहुत ही ज्यादा सबके बहुत दिमाग चढ़े हुए. And then he was sharing that in a similar situation in Thailand, when he himself was there and he was giving those people, they used to write it down. And the next time when he went, they used to how they had implemented what he had suggested. और जो Indian bureaucrat होता है, he never writes anything. He knows everything. तो लिखने की क्या जरूरत है? मेरे को तो आता है. So this high ego to achievement ratio is very crucial, you could say. उससे इसके that is what stops progress from happening. And that is what makes us understand that even after 70 years of India, our growth जो है ना, it is still taking baby steps. And this ego business, that is what he shared, that this ego business exists in a country which is regarded as the spiritual capital of the world. यहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा ego है लोगों में. So we need to introspect and look at ourselves and see how much of a giant we are allowing to live within us. छोटी-छोटी बातों में भी जो है ना ego आ जाए. Now let us see how, in what way pride is harmful. Because it is naturally harmful. It is not something which is good. So there is number of topics, headings according to which I'll be just taking up one of them. So first of all, judgment. So when you are feeling proud, आप पूरे अपने physical mind से operate करते हो, and the physical mind जो है वो बहुत judgmental होता है. So you cannot make the right spiritual choices because you're not connected to your subconscious mind, or subconscious mind से ही जो है आपके connect. So your ego does not allow you to listen to anybody. ना खुद की सुनते हो ना. And as we saw that you believe your point of view is the only point of view. And then you're also so much concerned about what other people think of you. कि आप choices according to what people want, you make that. And those choices may not be good for you, may not be. So they will only push you away from reality, from authenticity. Loss of judgment, though, then it leads to a spiritual downfall because you don't acknowledge God, you don't believe there's a higher power. Prayer तो कोई चीज ही नहीं है. Intellectual ही सब कुछ है, intellect ही सब कुछ है, और उसी पे आप focus रहते हो. And then you get totally disconnected from your higher self because universe से connection ही खत्म हो जाता है. Then vibrations in you. It's like a dark cloud around you and it does not allow light to come in. The light of wisdom, वो allow ही नहीं करता. तो हमारे vibrations बहुत low हो जाते हैं and उससे again judgment low हो जाती है. We make weaker choices, we make stupider choices. So the negativity around us deepens. This will be felt by others also. And nobody likes to approach somebody who is giving off very negative vibes. You become alone. Loneliness aa jati hai, aloneness aa jati hai. No one interacts with you much. Then it also makes you feel that you're always right, and it does not allow you to be open-minded or understand any situation properly. So we force our opinion on others. कि मेरी बात ही सही है, उसी को सुनो. So when we do that, we are going against the free will of the other person, and that is doing injustice to them. We're trying to overpower them, make them accept our thoughts of opinion. वो ना bombastic personality होते हैं, मेरी बात सुनो. तो they're doing injustice to everyone around them, and they don't feel that they're doing anything wrong in this. Then उसमें say you compare yourself to others, so you become on what you don't have, what the other has, and you don't be thankful at all for what you have. And then of course you get into that space of resentment. Why does he have? Usne aisa kaise kar liya? So jealousy sets in, and when jealousy comes, discontent to aayega hi aayega. So और अब उसके पास है तो मेरे पास भी होना चाहिए है. तो when you get it, which cannot be satisfied easily. So आपकी contentment तो goes for a toss. You are always in that state of discontentment. You're always full of feelings of desires, creating new ones. So you're never satisfied. And when you are humble, you are mind. And the needs of the subconscious mind, it is spiritually aligned, the subconscious mind. And when that happens, when you're spiritually aligned, when you're able to follow your subconscious mind, you bring contentment into your life. It does not matter किसी के पास है, किसी ने कुछ किया या नहीं, you are in that space of contentment. So it can be, so the subconscious mind gives you guidance आती है, advice आती है. And since you are humble, you follow that advice, you take positive spiritual action, जिसमें compassion भी है, love भी है. You're able to operate from that space. And as a result of that, it gives you a feeling of peace. So अंदर से ही contentment. And as a result of that feeling of peace, it gives you encouragement to connect more strongly to your subconscious mind. So it is an internal cycle that really uplifts you, that gives you feeling of peace, brings along around a spiritual upliftment. आपकी uplift. You get the strength to connect more deeply with your subconscious mind. और वहीं से जो है हमारा connect जो है ना universe से stronger होता है. So that is the way a humble person can bring about his own growth. You can rise above or also by connecting more to your subconscious mind. Then he creates a lot of enemies. जो है ना ये किसी से बनती नहीं है उनकी. And that brings around loss of relationships. अगर आपकी किसी से बनती नहीं है तो relationship तो go for a toss. Because अगर relationship चाहिए तो you need सबके साथ मिलके रहना जरूरी होता है. But ego does not allow that coexistence. इन उल्टा ईगो के बहुत सारे एक्सपेक्टेशंस होते हैं. आपका फिक्स्ड माइंडसेट है. This has to be done in this particular way. I should be given something. I should be given this respect. You demand respect. The ego demands respect. So उससे जो है ना you're not able to live in that space of. Now how to deal with this ego? We understand. Have it, accept it. Yes, I have it. Now, how can it be done? So first of all, we need to analyze ourselves. और वो कैसे करना है? By bringing mindfulness into your life. So everything is connected back to mindfulness. Be aware of what you are thinking. You think your position, about your possessions. सारा टाइम उसी के बारे में उसी स्पेस में रहते हो कि I have this, that, और मेरी पोजीशन ऐसी है. Of course, हर एक में प्राइड होती है और थोड़ी बहुत जरूरी भी होती है. And it is present in all of us in varying degrees. But we should not let it become overpowering. थोड़ी बहुत तो ठीक है, but overpower दूसरे ऊपर हम अपने आप को हावी नहीं होने देना चाहिए. And the worst kind of pride, spiritual pride. When we start thinking of bringing that I factor into our thoughts, even that simple sentence thought, even I am humble, that displays your pride. Or I do a lot of social work. I am a great leader. Will come to me. All these thoughts actually bring you down. So the moment comes in, your indication, it is an indication of your ego that it is very active, and it is also the first step towards your spiritual downfall. So when such I thoughts come up, analysis karo apna, and you feel that you have a lot of these I thoughts, accept the fact that this is the most difficult step, acceptance. Recognize and acknowledge that you are proud, because nobody wants to accept that, nobody does it. But when you accept it, when you recognize and acknowledge that I have these traits in me, that is when you give rise to a desire to change. Uske pehle, when you recognize and accept, then only that desire to change will come in. और आप क्या change करोगे? तो awareness लानी बहुत जरूरी है. And if you want to walk on that path of spiritual awakening or whatever, it requires you to change. आप जैसे चल रहे थे वैसे आपकी उस पाथ पे आगे प्रोग्रेस नहीं होगी. And the ego knows that it will have to change, that it will, if it allows these thoughts to come in, it will be discarded. So it resists change. So a proud person cannot accept change easily. So we need to make our mindset stronger than our ego to bring that change into our life. जब वो होएगा, then only we'll be able to overpower our ego. Next, how to deal with the ego is we need to control our pride. And now what is pride? It is just in our thought. Actually, when you do something, you achieve something, it is natural to feel pride. But you don't need to wear that achievement as a badge. You don't need to display because that is making you act in a proud way. And it is that can be changed with time, how to let go of these thoughts. We need to bring in humbleness and accept, okay, now this time I was successful. Next time, maybe I won't be. And when you bring in that thought, it will bring your pride down. It will help you to control yourself, control your pride. So it is not that आपने a success face किया, तो it is going to be a continuous process. You've seen so many businesses, people also rise करते हैं, फिर fall करते हैं, because this is the wheel of life. Once you're up, you have go down also, because you have to face both of them to deal with life, to like be a part of that journey. Then we need to, yeah, I forgot to do that. Then we need to replace our proud thoughts with ones. As we saw those I thoughts, like I am humble, I am a good healer. We have to clear them and replace them with the correct thoughts. There is no need to announce that I'm humble and I do a lot of social work. Let your actions speak for you. You do words for all this. So you have to let it be. You don't need to go and tell or, as I said, wear it as a badge. Just let your actions speak out what you are. And in dealing with the ego, we need to be consistent in our efforts. You know, that was the option. So, you know, pride makes you feel powerful. And then you don't accept if anybody else achieves something. किसी और ने कुछ किया तो आप उसको accept भी करने को तैयार नहीं होते हो, आप critical हो जाते हो. So pride wants you to be felt extra special. So, and you cannot another person's success at all. And when that happens, if anybody else gets success, and jealousy leads to anger. अच्छा कैसे हो गया? And then when anger comes in, that person will keep on simmering from inside. And then that fire becomes so extreme that it turns into hatred. And when that comes in, it will push you to take revenge. And revenge can take any form. It can be physical, or it can even be just taunting the other person, putting them down, manipulating them, emotionally hurting them. All these are again ego traits that the person is not able to tolerate the other person's rise or whatever. So all in all, to get out of the trap of pride, we need to cultivate humility. And that can only when you connect to your subconscious mind. And that happens, your connection with your subconscious mind, that happens when you pray regularly. Be constantly aware of that higher power. Accept that everyone is equal because God has created us all. Yes, in different shapes and sizes, but still we are the children of God. And then to bring in compassion, understand other people's view, accept our flaws, be patient with ourselves, with others as well, release judgment, live in an attitude of gratitude. Opposite of all the points that we saw at the beginning of the session. वो सारी चीजें हमें लानी पड़ेगी to come out of that space of goodness. Because you have to remember that a proud person cannot be spiritual. Spirituality involves crushing the ego. Agar ego crush nahi hua, to you are not in that space. And it's not impossible. Difficult hai, but impossible nahi hai. For ultimately, the purpose of life is to become a wohi journey of the spiritual being. And this process can continue over lifetimes. So however much you are irritated with your life and keep saying, I don't want to be born again. Sorry, You have to learn all your lessons and progress. So you have to keep taking birth. There is hope for each and every one of us. Some progress. We are all given this gift of reincarnation, rebirth. So we have ample. बहुत सारा time हमें दिया जाता है to work on ourselves and reach that spiritual high, because that is what the soul wants. That is the journey of the soul. So thank you. I end my session over here. Anything you would like to ask or discuss? Any insights you got?
थैंक यू मीनू जी, बहुत अच्छा सेशन था। तो प्राइड इंग्लिश में एक वर्ड प्राइड हो जाता है, लेकिन एक हिंदी में अगर उसको ट्रांसलेट करें तो गौरव और गर्व, सम्मान, मतलब कई चीजें आ जाती हैं, गुड सेंस वाली भी आ जाती है प्राइड। तो जब हम प्राइड के लिए कहते हैं कि हमको प्राइड नहीं रखना, पर यू नो व्हेन इट कम्स टू कंट्री, हैविंग प्राइड, बीइंग इंडियन, और यू नो प्राइड ऑफ इंडिया जैसे टर्म्स यूज होती हैं, या एनी मेनी थिंग्स अलोंग दोस लाइंस, तो उसमें आपका क्या कहना है?
Like I said, we need to. Sorry, your voice got cut.
Yeah, basically एक अभिमान होता है, एक स्वाभिमान, एक गर्व होता है। तो
so the positive aspects, the pride has a lot of positive aspects. We all need a little bit of pride. So we could say हमारी जो वजूद है उस नहीं होएगा, but हमें दूसरों के ऊपर हावी नहीं होने देना चाहिए. So we need to make people with our attitude, with our whatever thought process, we need to show it, but we don't need to overpower others with it. No, you have not be demanding that I demand respect. It's okay. If somebody is paying attention, if not, it's okay. So we get into that state of equanimity. Pride in the nation is something totally different. We need to have that pride. Yes, I belong to this nation. वो तो होना ही चाहिए. That is not something that is negative. जो negative aspects हैं उसके, वो हमें निकालने चाहिए. Like what I tried to discuss here today.
So, Meenu ji, we are talking about healthy self-respect.
Yes,
yeah,
that is.
And yet we are also talking about surrender, where in surrender it is in a way tantamount to saying that मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं हूँ, because मैं मेरा next श्वास भी मेरे हाथ में नहीं है. I have no control over my next breath also, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a kind of tightrope walk. It's a difficult challenging balancing act.
There is a very fine line between egoistic and self-respect. Maybe a very fine line. We keep like crossing the line number of times. So the more awareness comes into us, then we are able to understand where we are crossing the line.
And one more little thing here is, Meenu ji, it's about responsibility. Now, taking responsibility for my life, is that part of ego or is it part of no ego? Because
I'm sorry, voice is getting cut.
Taking responsibility for my life.
Yes. Now, nobody wants to do that.
No, so one second. So if we say I take responsibility for my life, there's a certain sense of doership there, right?
No, taking responsibility life in the sense that I blame others, that because of them something is happening in my life. Doership comes in the way that we have to. So for that we are doing something. हमें सारा effort करना है to keep our body healthy, to do all our tasks, spiritual journey के लिए जो चाहिए सब कुछ करना है. तो doership तो उसमें आती है. But I don't blame others कि okay, because of him I'm not able to progress. Because of him I cannot sit down. If you want to meditate, you create that time whenever it is possible for you. Use so that way you're taking responsibility. You're not blaming others. You're creating that space for yourself where I can do what I want to do.
Yeah. And finally, Meenu, the question is whether surrender and humility, can it be done or does it happen? Because, we are aware, conceptually, we are aware of a lot of these things. Yeah. And yet we've been struggling. I've been struggling with it for a long time.
Surrender comes in when we let go. When we
Yeah.
let go of things, surrender comes in that way. If we keep
Yep.
holding on to things, then we are not surrendering. So it is something that you are consciously doing.
Ji.
And then it happens. Surrender, आप सोच नहीं कि मैंने surrender करना, आपने let go करना है. तो surrender
जी.
नहीं होगी.
Okay.
आपने
Thank
चीजों को पकड़ के नहीं
Okay.
कि नहीं यही मैंने करना है, it should be done to me, और कुछ किसी ने कुछ कह दिया आप उसको पकड़ के रखा हुआ है. मतलब जो whatever we are holding on to, we need to let that go, and that will automatically bring in surrender.
Ji. Okay. Thank you.
Meenu ji, can I say something?
Please, sir. Yes, sir.
Way I look at it in the word ego, if you look at the spelling of the word ego, all the wisdom is there. EGO, right? Edging God out.
Okay. Very good.
Once the ego comes in, God is out. असली मैं तो चले गया ना, ये तो दूसरा मैं आ गया ना, मेरा वाला मैं आ गया ना. बस यही ध्यान में रखना.
जी.
Thank you.
जी, thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, Meenu ji. Good morning.
Good morning.
So my question is, for example, we understand कि हमको ego हो जाता है and we start improvising ourselves. मुझे ये problem हो रहा है कि मैं इतना calm down हो गई हूँ कि that is going opposite side. That अगर कुछ गलत भी हो रहा है, then also, you know, I'm quiet now. I'm that quiet because I understand कि उसका कोई ego का कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So for example, today in the morning, you know, somebody hit my car, खड़ी हुई गाड़ी पे कोई मार के चला गया. Okay, I got a bit disturbed today. But now my state of mind says it is nothing going to happen. Though it is wrong, but still कि मेरी गाड़ी पे ये कर दिया. मैं मतलब I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything. But वो अब my point here is कि मैं इतना calm down हो गई हूँ that I don't want to say anything to anybody. So why this is happening, और वो नहीं connect कर पा रही हूँ मैं.
Sorry, I'll miss the last part.
So I'm saying that why this is happening, because I understand what is the meaning of ego. I'm trying to self-improvise myself, but वो इतना ज़्यादा मैं calm down कर चुकी हूँ अपने आप को that I don't want to fight or say anything to anybody if in case the other person is wrong.
So then you understand that there is no point in गाड़ी को कुछ मार गया है. It is natural to, ego is not coming over there. It is your natural reaction to that situation. वहाँ पे ego की तो बात ही नहीं आती. But yes, ठीक है, अब nothing can be done about it. So if something can be worked, if it, like the damage is too much, you naturally need compensation from the other. So that is perfectly okay. That is not being in an egoistic state. That is what is the repercussion of what the other person has done. He has to face it. And but then इसमें वो कोई ego की बात नहीं आती. I don't feel that. So and it is good to be calm down. अब उसका कुछ हो नहीं सकता. You don't need to react. You don't need to like वहाँ पे बैठ के आप लड़ाइयाँ करो, कुछ नहीं. आराम से भी हो सकता है. Now you get out and out of the car and you say, look at it, and then हो गया. Now if you start yelling at the person, that other person will react. लड़ाई फिर वहाँ लड़ाई हो जाएगी. But if you're calmly looking at the situation and react in a calm way, and he'll be more ready to compensate for the whatever damage has been done. तो लड़ाई से इतना कुछ solve नहीं होएगा, calmness से हो जाएगा. So it is good if you are able to react in that way.
Yeah, I'm quite calm. It's been damaged, but I'm quite calm, and that is actually scaring me कि गलत किया किसी ने. This is for the first time happening with me. That किसी ने कुछ गलत किया and I'm not vocal about it, and I'm actually feeling bad कि वो इतना ज़्यादा नहीं suppress हो जाए कि in future also कोई बहुत बड़ी बात कोई गलत कुछ कर दे. Still I am very calm. So that was my worry actually.
Like Anandji said, the self-respect के लिए you then take a stand for that. That is not being egoistic. Self-respect is self-respect.
Right.
वो अलग चीज है, ego अलग चीज है. Yes, Anandji.
Sure, thank you.
So Meenuji, ego is definitely not about not having boundaries. We need boundaries to protect ourselves, to not become doormats and not allow people to walk over us.
Absolutely.
Right? So now what is that healthy boundary is a very individual thing which only each of us can decide for ourselves. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Meenu
I
ji,
think it's a tricky thing. It's a lifelong practice, like constant work in progress. All our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Thank you. Thank
Absolutely. We are all works in progress.
you. Ji.
Meenu ji,
हाँ जी संजू जी.
hello.
हाँ जी संजू, yes, I can hear you now.
Sorry. Yeah, suppose let's say you are accused wrongly of something, then and you what do you react? You would probably react a little angrily. So is that a bad thing?
No, our instant response is of anger. If you are accused wrongly, anger आता है, and that's natural also. So then that we are working on, we work on that. Okay, next time if I face such a situation, I will not react because that's not me. If they have accused me wrongly, it is not my thinking. I am not that whatever they have said. So when you are in that space, know
Sorry?
yourself, you understand that it is not you're not reactive. When you are connected to yourself, you don't become reactive. Which बोल रहा है बोलने दो, it is their thinking. It is not your thinking. It is not you. They are looking at you from their perspective. वो उनकी thinking है. I cannot change their thinking. I can put my
But you know what?
front that I am not
Suppose I don't
responsible.
react, no?
Whether they accept or not.
Suppose I don't react
Look,
at that point
initially
and I
when you are
say,
not
okay,
connected.
this is that person's thing and all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then later on, I start feeling, I get more slowly. I start getting irritated by that person's attitude. That it's like this is all, some thing about my mistake and something like that. So it just becomes
It
more and
is
more
not your
aggravated, and
mistake.
I get more angry later on.
If you understand that it is not your mistake, you don't need to be in that space of thinking that it is my mistake. Why are you allowing the other person's opinion color your way of life, your thinking process? And then when you let go, you are holding on to it now. You let it go. See, I don't need to get into that. So you know like people, बच्चों को भी कहते थे तुम पढ़ नहीं सकते, तुम ऐसे हो वैसे, वो बच्चों के दिमाग में बैठ जाता है and they start believing that they are that, and now they don't have the acumen to understand कि I don't need to accept it. As grown-ups we have that acumen, so I don't need to accept what they're saying. उल्टा उनको blessings भेजो, उनको मिले so that they change their thought process. Bring in that compassion in you, that what is making them think that way. Unki thought process change ho so that they understand the reality, they accept what is the authentic me. उनको समझ आ जाए, तो उनको सद्बुद्धि भेजो, उनको compassion भेजो, उनको love भेजो, ताकि उनको समझ आ जाए.
But if you don't do fight back, then it is like accepting what the other person is saying. That okay, you are right. I'm whatever. I'm wrong.
What is your thought process that matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you are comfortable in not fighting, that's perfectly okay. You don't have to be reactive to satisfy the other person's ego.
Mm-hmm. Right.
आप अपने बारे में क्या सोचते हो? That is
Meenu
that's
ji,
why.
sorry. Often we talk about listening to the head or to the heart, right? And typically over time, if you're really able to listen to the voice of the heart, then the ego would start being managed, kind of.
Right.
While the head is the one which khud ka varchasva, garv, and all that stuff, which is unhealthy.
Yes.
And the heart, but then many times it's very difficult to distinguish whether it's actually head or heart, because
the challenge is all about that.
Yeah,
is the biggest challenge of life. Yes.
It can be like a mask. We think it is actually heart when it's the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meenu ji, how do you handle people who are egoistic?
A very difficult question. Because it's very तो वही है कि आप थोड़ा सा बैक आउट हो जाइए, ठीक है, जो बोलना है बोलने दो, कभी तो सद्बुद्धि आ जाएगी उनको. Send them those thoughts. your thoughts work very powerfully. What you are thinking about the other person, that matters a lot for yourself also and for the others also. So उनको वही मैं कह रही हूँ ना, सदी भेज आप जितने पॉजिटिव आप क्या करते हैं, इगोइस्टिक करते हैं, so you are thinking all the time.
But they're crossing the
वो
boundaries.
तो कभी सुनता नहीं, आप उस स्पेस में रहते हो. Sorry.
But the thing is that they impose on you, or they want to cross your boundaries.
So then you have to be strict about your own space.
You
have to bring that in. What is it that you want?
You have to define that boundary.
दूसरे को हम नहीं change कर सकते, पर अपने ऊपर हम work कर सकते हैं.
Yeah.
One last thing, Meenuji, is about what we call conscience, right? Our own conscience, we say conscience.
Yes.
So sometimes I do something and later I regret it. It's like maybe harsh words which were not called for, or which leaves me I feel justified at one level. At another level, I feel I could have avoided that. It was a reaction, not a response. So I feel bad about it. So my conscience tells me that no, you could have done better. So can we say that one confirmatory test of this is whether we don't have pangs, we don't feel bad about something, or we don't feel, then the ego is not there. Right. If I've done something out of ego, then it leaves me with a residue of not feeling good about myself.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. You could say that when you're feeling calm, then you are not operating from.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
Meenuji, there's one small story which we had read during our childhood.
Ji.
About King Vishwamitra, who became a
Sorry, your
saint
voice is
later.
breaking a lot. Sorry.
It's about King Vishwamitra. I mean, this famous king.
Would you like to repeat? Because the voice.
Yeah, I think now it may be a little better.
Yeah. Better.
Yeah, this it's about King Vishwamitra. He was a very powerful and a big king and all those things, and very powerful man. And one day Vashishta, the saint, Vashishta is a Saptarishi. I mean, one of the Saptarishis. So he visits him in his kingdom, and he says, this, I'm a king, and I've got all these things and this, that. And Vashishta says, that's okay, yaar. I mean, I'm also something. I mean, don't think that you're everything and you're a nothing as far as I'm concerned, kind of thing. Vashishta kind of insults him, Vishwamitra. And Vishwamitra then says, अच्छा ये पता नहीं क्या समझता है, इतना ना कपड़े हैं ना कुछ है, एक कमंडली लेके घूम रहा है और मैं देखो, I'm such a big man. And he says, let me beat him at his own game. And Vishwamitra then goes to the jungle and starts meditating and starts becoming a saint. He realizes that after all, it's not a very easy thing to do. And then he gets tempted by Minocha, and Minocha breaks his penance, and all those things happen. And finally, when Vishwamitra comes out of it, that very ego which prompted him to overtake Vashishta, that ego itself goes away. I mean, then that thing is not there. Then once he becomes a saint himself, he actually does it to take badla from Vashishta and try to prove that Vashishta, tu jo kar sakta hai, main bhi kar sakta hu, kind of an attitude. But when he actually becomes a saint, nothing is left in him. There is no badla after that. So the thing is that maybe ego is required to a certain extent to drive yourself, or to maybe achieve you, or put you in the right path. But after a certain extent, you realize that the ride is so good and so smooth that you don't really require a push. I think ego is required to push yourself to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Once you are able to push yourself, and when you are smooth sailing, kind of, then you really, that it melts away, kind of. It melts away, I think.
So the journey is about losing the ego. So अब अगर है तो उसको lose तो करने then you
Correct. The journey is about losing the ego,
situation where you
and it's
become
a
aware.
melt away. It can't go in one day.
Yeah, absolutely. No. That's why you need lifetimes. And we are given that gift of rebirth. Keep working in it on each lifetime. और हर lifetime में हमारी progress बहुत छोटी सी होती है. और कोई एक point like love and just
And
understand.
after the whole thing happens, Vashishta comes and
number of
pays his
lifetimes.
tribute to Vishwamitra. Because Vashishta comes and pays his tributes to Vishwamitra later on. And there is no ill will between them. It's not कि अच्छा चलो यार मैंने तुमको माफ कर दिया kind of thing. It doesn't exist because there is nothing. There is no barrier between them actually anymore. That is how it is. It all melts away.
Souls are all connected. When one soul calms down, the message goes automatically to the other soul. So need that verbal communication at all. Soul level पे ही सारे काम है. Then they were of a very high level, very high caliber. उनके साथ तो comparison ही नहीं हो सकता हमारा.
I think we actually दिमाग ज़्यादा चलता है, as somebody was saying, and we tend to overanalyze things, which I think we should start feeling more from the heart rather than feel for everything in our brains.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Meenuji,
Ji,
you're looking quite good.
thank you.
Nice and pretty.
Thank you so much. So is that to make me feel proud?
Huh?
I agree what I think Sanju said, because even I felt the same, that you're looking very pretty today, very fresh, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I accept it and I acknowledge it and I let it go. Thank you so much.
Yes, Meenuji. Yes.
Yes, Shavana ji should divide up 9 o'clock. Okay.
Meenuji, 1 minute. I can take. I want to say that ego से हम simplify करने को, अपने आप को simplify करना is the better way कि ego गई. But life को simplify करना है जैसे.
जी.
I want to.
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल. Is it when we are not in that space of ego, हम सब से connected and subconscious is simple. As I said it earlier also, सब इसकी demands नहीं है, simplicity है उसका characteristic. So life becomes simpler. So you're not in that space. अच्छा वो क्या बोल रहा है, मुझे कैसे करना है, वो सारी चीजें खत्म हो जाती हैं.
Not with the brain, only by heart.
Yes.
जो सब कुछ है, brain disturb करता है सबको.